So this episode takes place where the last one ended, where Courtney bumps into Pat after getting her butt kicked by by Brainwave in the tire yard. So, the two of them meet up. She checks out the robot. She jumps on the robot. She flies away. Pat takes them back to the garage. And then Pat basically tells her the entire situation. He let Courtney know that, listen, our man, was the one member of the JSA who didn't die. And both he and his wife, they traveled all over the US looking for the Injustice Society, and they tracked them to Blue Valley. Unfortunately, when they got to Blue Valley, they were murdered, or they got into an accident, while they were tracking down the Injustice Society. So then it's up to, it's up to Pat now to pick up the mantle and get revenge for the JSA. So, and then after he tells Courtney the story, she was just like, she was like, our man and Justice Society, was with the stupid names and the stupid costumes. And then she was just like, let's just find these fools so I can get revenge from my daddy. And then he's like, Starman wasn't your daddy. And then he was just like, first of all, the suit that I wore, he was like, yeah, those stripes that you keep making fun of, that's what kept me alive, and that's what kept my family safe, because when people saw my costume, people looked at the costume, they didn't look at my face, and it was a symbol, and it's a way to protect people. And then Courtney's whole thing was, okay, I got to make a costume. Thanks. And she runs into the basement. She steals Starman's old costume, and then she alters it, to fit her, as a costume that she can wear. So then so she's in school altering the costume, and then she goes down to she goes to the cafeteria. The black girl, she's at the loser table. She's Skyping lunch Skyping with her parents, and you can tell that the girl is very pushy. She's very overly hyped. She's overly excited. She's overly animated, and she's kind of annoying. But the girl's mom ends up working with Brainwave. So while the girl was talking to both of her parents, Brainwave walked in because him and the mom share the same office. While they were talking, Brainwave overheard, because Brainwave, when he fought Stargirl had dropped her ID. Brainwave picked up the ID, and he was trying to use the ID to see if he can find out who Stargirl is. But then he overheard he overheard the black girl say to the mom, she was like, are you and dad coming to parent teacher night tonight, because everybody's going to be there. And then both Stargirl and Brainwave at the same time, they were like, everybody's going to be there, so he sees it as this is his chance to find Stargirl, and she's like, this is my chance to find Brainwave and bust these injustice fools. So then Brainwave's son ended up stealing $20 out of his dad's wallet. He went to his dad's office, and the dad told him, he was just like, listen, I just want to clarify, was the person who beat you and your friends up, was it a girl? And then he was just like, I couldn't tell, but I can't really tell because it was dark out or whatever. And then and then Brainwave was just like, he was like, son, he was like, tell me what I'm thinking. And then, he's like, oh no, because the son, because I think Brainwave's trying to figure out if his son also has the mental powers that he does. Because his mental powers, obviously, they weren't mechanically made. Those powers exist, he's a metahuman. Those powers exist within him. So he's trying to see if he passed that power on to his son. But of course, his son, even if the son had the powers, I don't think he would know it, because the son's a douchebag and he doesn't really care about what he's doing. So anyway. So that was it. Then he told his son, he was like, by the way, give me back my $20. So he gave his $20 back. And then now we're off to the, to the parent teacher night. Now the mom, she's starting her new job. She's working with her new job. And the guy who's basically in charge, he had a staff meeting with everybody. And he was saying to everybody, hey, what ideas do you guys have for some new things that we can do for the town? And Courtney's mom was the only person coming up with ideas. And the dude shot down every idea that Courtney's mom came up with. But what got me in the moment, it wasn't so much that the guy was turning down all her ideas. It was how the rest of, her coworkers were reacting. It was almost although the guy is saying, hey guys, give me some ideas, it's almost like they were afraid to answer the question, or they were told not to answer the question. Even when the black girl was talking to her mom, her parents didn't really sound like they were just annoyed that their daughter randomly called them at lunchtime. they almost made it seem like they were afraid to be on the to be on the video chat with her. Like there were like consequences because the dad seemed very jittery when they Skyped him in, and the mom just seemed like like everybody in the town seems a little off, and I can't tell if if that's just how everyone's just acting, or if the town is aware of the Injustice Society and they're just afraid and they're being held down and they're being told what to do and how to think. So now that Courtney's mom comes in with all these new ideas, everybody looking at her like, "Shut up, bitch! You ruined. You're gonna get us all killed." Like that's how it came across. It came across as like, "Yo, if you don't conform and be quiet, you're gonna get us all killed." But we'll see what happens with that. So now we're at parent teacher night. The principal's obviously one of the villains because the principal, she got her son and she was just like, "Oh, my son's so handsome and he's going to be this and he's going to be that." The son was not trying to hear it because he was just like, "Mom, you're embarrassing me." The Asian teacher who was in the cafeteria last week that wouldn't let Courtney sit at the cool kids table, she's married to the white guy that was getting Pat to work out, the crusher that was getting Pat to crush it. So one of them or both of them are Injustice people, and then they have a daughter who's also a jock. The girlfriend, like Brainstorm's son, his girlfriend, the chick with the black hair with the white in front, she was kind of like being a snooty bitch to her mom. But it was one of those things where it's like, you showed me that for a reason. Like, you didn't just randomly just put that clip in there. So I don't know if the mom, well, I don't know if the mom's obviously not a metahuman, but we don't know who her husband is yet. For all we know, her husband could also be the guy that Courtney's mom works for. So I'm trying to figure out like who are the bad guys here, and like who are the Injustice Society, because like I said, but the people that we've seen so far, like the gym, like the crusher and his wife, one of them are villains. Obviously Brainwave's a villain. The Courtney's boss is one of the villains. Like the Asian, like the principal's obviously a villain. So it'd be kind of, so it's like that's actually one aspect of the show that I'm cool with. Like I like the fact that we're gonna unfold this and we're gonna try to discover who these villains are as we go forward. So Courtney's in, so they're all at the gymnasium having snacks and mingling. Courtney's trying to find Brainwave. Brainwave's trying to find Courtney. The two of them find each other. Brainwave gets in her head, and he's like, "Why do you keep thinking of Starman every time you see me?" He was like, "You're Starman's daughter." So he was just like, "All right, bring me the cosmic staff. Otherwise, I'm going to use my psychic brain powers to cook your mom's brain. I'm going to give her an aneurysm, and you're going to lose your mama." And then he dips. So they go back to the house. Pat and them, they go back to the house. Courtney's talking to Pat. She's like, "Oh, he said he was going to kill my mom." She's like, "I have to take care of him." And then Pat was like, "No." He's like, "I'm going to take care of him. You're going to sit your ass down and you're going to let me handle this." So Pat jumps into the robot. He goes after Brainwave. Obviously, Courtney doesn't listen. She puts on her new costume and she goes after Brainwave. Pat goes after Brainwave, gets his ass kicked in the robot because Brainwave was using he was using his mental powers. He was like, he crushed the rope. He pinned the robot between like a car and like something else. So right before Pat dies, Courtney shows up and she's like, "My name is Stargirl and he's my trusty sidekick." And, which made him roll his eyes because he's like, "I'm back in the sidekick role." Stargirl ends up fighting Brainwave. She almost loses. Brainwave uses his brain powers to try to get her to submit and give up the staff because he wants the staff. That's just it. His whole thing is he wants the staff. It doesn't work. She takes the staff, presses the staff up against his mind, an explosion happens, it cooks his brain, Brainwave is out. He's down for the count, his brain is fried, he got ooze coming out of the side of his ear, Brainwave's done. So now, Courtney's like, "Well, what do we do with him? Because it's not like we can take him to the police because no one's going to believe that he's Brainwave." So they just, they dropped him off at the hospital, and the son came down to the hospital, and then like the doctor was just like, "Your dad had like a brain aneurysm or something." And it's unfortunate because the only person who's qualified to treat your dad's injuries is your dad, and he's comatose at the moment, so he can't actually help you. And so now the son's mad, and now he's like, "I'm gonna get revenge for my daddy." So maybe he does, like, maybe that's what it's gonna take. It's gonna take like an emotional outburst for his power to manifest. And by the end of the season, there's gonna be a moment where Courtney's gonna take out each member of the Injustice Society, and their kid is going to have an axe to grind with Stargirl, and all the kids are basically going to team up at the end of the season, and and all like the kids are going to be coming after Stargirl because all the parents are going to get injured, they're going to get their mind wiped, or whatever the case may be. And then, so then after that, Courtney's talking to Pat again. They're having a conversation. Pat was just like, yo, I tried to be the superhero. I got my ass kicked. I'm not that dude. She was like, he was like, maybe you are Starman's daughter. Maybe it's up to you to do this. Maybe I'm not meant to do this. And then she was like, nah, Pat. She's like, I actually do need you because I am 15. You know more about this stuff than I do, and it'd be nice to have you watch my back. So the two of them are starting to bond, and then she's just like, all right, who we coming after next? And then it cuts to the final scene where the leader of the Injustice Society shows up, and you find out the leader of the Injustice Society is Icicle. And I thought that was weird because, to be honest, Icicle's not a boss. Like, he's not like it's like you have cold power. That's it. Like, if anything, I thought Brainwave was the leader of the Injustice Society because he actually has brain power. Like, he can control people's minds. It's like, why is the guy who can control people's minds, why is he afraid of the ice guy? So Icicle gonna have to do something in the next episode to prove to me why he's that much of a badass to the point where everybody should be listening to him and why he should be the leader. And then Lord knows who his children are. Maybe the girl with the white hair, because she has like that white hair, maybe that's his daughter, whatever. But so Icicle, so we got an actor to play Icicle in the house. He's aware that there's a new Stargirl, and now he's gonna because we saw Grundy locked up in the cage, and now he's gonna reassemble the Injustice Society, and they coming after Stargirl ass. Overall, it was a good episode. So it looks like we're gonna get, at least for a little while, we're gonna get a villain of the week type situation with a new Injustice Society member. And like I said, I'm interested in the story. I'm like, this wasn't like the high school stuff was at a minimum. Was at a strong minimum, and I'm happy about that. I'm interested in the mom's job to see what happens with the connection with the mom and the Injustice person that she works with, so I am interested in all that, but it was more superhero, less high school, so I was definitely cool with that. So thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know who you think all the Injustice villains are, like, who's an Injustice villain, who's just a dick, what do you think is going to happen as the show progresses, and we'll keep talking about it for all 13 episodes. Got Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. I got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up pretty soon. Until then, for next week of Stargirl, episode 3, this is episode 2, Icon signing off, and I'm out this.